Hello everyone. So I am trying to do a coaster request in some specific colors, and I need to see if the colors are going to work out better as like a bloom or a bloom swipe. So I figured we would go along for the journey. So the request is for royal blue, purple, black, white, and maybe a little bit of silver. So I'm inclined to kind of lean on the black and white from the pillow paint and maybe the cell activator versus trying to put them in here, because if we do a swipe or something, they'll show a little bit. So I'm gonna try to swipe them. I don't have my spinner, well I have it out, but I don't have the little pool out. So I'm using Ultramarine blue from Grumbacher. Yes. This is a mix I've had mixed up for a little bit. It is a mixture of dioxazine purple from Golden Fluid Acrylics and blue violet. I use this on the little rainbow record pour that I released the video of recently. This is Amsterdam silver. It also kind of has a pewter feel to it. Never used it before. And then I have a little bit of Colourarte Interference Violet left. I had to thin it out a little bit because it's kind of old. And black and white cell activator. I have Amsterdam titanium white mixed with a 3:1 ratio and golden carbon black heavy body with a 3:1 ratio. So I've never layered them before. I heard it's like the magic sauce. So I figured we'd give it a shot. So I'm gonna try this as a swipe. I don't yet know how well that will work, and I'm afraid to put too much silver. So I figured these are nice colors anyway, so if this swipe idea turns out to be bogus, then I can always try the bloom idea. I'm sure someone will eventually like these. So if our customer doesn't like them, then they will probably be for sale. And I feel like I've got way too much stuff on here. I kind of want to, it's so hard for me not to sparkle it up a little bit more. But this is for a guy, for someone's son. So, you know, not everybody wants too much, but you know, I gotta throw it in there a little bit. A little interference color, never hurt anybody too much. Okay, I gotta get some more blue in there. It's gonna be real purple, you know? Okay, the paint is a little thick for a swipe, but it's a tile, so it may not be too difficult. So now, I want to see how they look if I just do a straight, like, swipe. The only thing is I'm gonna have to lay down the cell activator rather than use the card, which is what I usually like to do, because we're going to use two, so it's going to be super hard to not overdo it. Well, I don't even think I stirred that. Y'all, my brain is fried. So, forgive me if I do something real silly. I've never done the black on top of the white or vice versa. So this feels like this is going to be hard to control. I can't keep wasting time though, because we're running out of time. I cut these thinking I was going to go a different direction with this, and now I'm like, I can barely control this. I don't think that's going to work. So we'll see. Feels like maybe I needed to mix up my white CA a little bit, huh? Well, so far this is kind of a disaster. What did I was just about to do something really silly. I ran my finger into the popsicle stick over here. This is not a good experiment so far. I have really beautiful cells right here and like nowhere else. And I don't really want to torch this because this is house paint and it burns really easily. So I hesitate to torch it. I'm going to let it sit for a second and see what develops. But this may not be my finest hour. My paint also might be too thick. I have some good cells over here. So I also think maybe my white cell activator just really needed to be stirred up, and I don't think I stirred it. So let's see what happens if I tilt. What's really sad is, I don't know if you can see these cells right here, they're going to end up being tilted off. So it's not really the intended look. And over here, where I have some semblance of cells, I have sort of drug my card into the paint, and I really need to tip that part off. So this might be a what not to do lesson, and we might scrape it and go again, huh? And I do think it's really cool how the cells are forming. Like they have like these like they're like purple and blue. But I also kind of think, so she asked for royal blue, and ultramarine blue is a royal blue, but I kind of think we need to include maybe some phthalo blue in the mix. So, I don't know. So far, I'm not a fan. I also really don't like the way the white under the black looks. It creates a lot of gray. Oh look, my really pretty cells are gone. I should have preserved those somehow and maybe save the skin of this tile. But I don't think we can save this. I mean, if I didn't know what I was going for, this would be okay. But I do know what I'm going for, and so it's not. So let's just cut our losses, huh? And I think we're going to use a black cell activator, and we're going to put more of the blue on the top, so it will make the black darken up the blue a little bit. At least that's the idea. So let's go again. I also think I'm going to, instead of trying to swipe all the way across, I think I'm going to swipe from the middle. So that's what painting is, y'all. It's a science project sometimes. And that was a lot of pillow, but I didn't want to have to tip off things that we liked. So I think we're going to layer this a little differently. So purple. I also thought about doing this with a black pillow and using a white cell activator, and I ultimately may get there. A little bit of silver, maybe not too much, that's a lot. Blue, a lot of blue maybe. We'll do a little interference action in there. Probably need to take it easy with that because I'm going to run out. Oh my gosh, I wasted a whole bunch of it. It's like precious. And my paints are a little thick. Okay, now spray on the white cell activator. So hopefully we'll get white from our negative space. The downside is I'm going to have to mix up more black cell activator soon. So let's see. That's not really a lot. I'm losing some stuff down here. Here I am trying to get all clever with how I swipe. Probably shouldn't do that. I should probably do something real basic at first and then try to be clever later. What do y'all think? It's selling up a little bit better. Now I don't know what to do, and I didn't cut up that many of these. I'm sorry about my dog scratching her head. My dogs make funny noises when we're recording. That's why I usually do voiceovers. You never know who's going to walk in and talk, or when my dogs are going to start chewing on their bone. See, I don't think I planned this very well. All right, I'm just going to go with it. Because see, I did that with the hope of like making kind of a design with it, and then I didn't really factor in that I have to do that over here, and I'm basically going to destroy what I just did. You know what I mean? You guys are probably like, no, you're crazy, lady. Okay. Let me see. That's not going to work either. I don't know, you guys. I'm tempted to just start tilting it and see what happens, because some of it's going to tilt off anyway, right? Let's see. Okay. Let's start over here, open that up a little bit. The sad part is where the best cells are sometimes is where you end up having to tilt it off, and that's terrible. So I try to help it connect a little bit so you don't have to tilt off like the best parts. No! We wanted a little white too, so let me not over stretch yet, because our white could come from our pillow paint. I love the bloom recipe because you can do so many things with it. Let's help this a little bit because I don't want to lose all that lacing. You can do so many things with it, and you know, I was looking at something the other day, I don't know, I was watching a video or something, and I was like, I see a lot of people like coming up with creative ways to do like a bloom type thing without the bloom ingredients, which is awesome. Of course, you always want to do new things, but I actually really like using the bloom ingredients because I personally find that I use less tube paint and stuff, and my pigments last a long time and all of that stuff, because with Shelly's recipe you can virtually mix up colors and with very little actual paint. I mean, yes, you are mixing up the house paint and you are mixing up the varnish and your pouring medium and stuff, but I find that your coverage is so much better that even though you're using those things, you are by and large using less than you normally would. So I recently started doing, or trying to do, more like acrylic pouring for beginners type videos, just because I realize that not everyone who watches this channel is doing blooms, and I don't want to exclude anybody or have our channel not be helpful for artists that are doing regular acrylic pouring, because I do that too. I just tend to get on a kick and then I practice something a whole lot, you know what I mean? I think everybody does that. I'm not making this corner any better. Anyway, and I was like doing something the other day and I was like, man, that uses a lot of paint, because I'm so used to like a blueberry size of paint, or you know, a little dab of pigment and it lasting through multiple paintings and pieces. And when you do regular acrylic pouring after you've done this for so long, I think you're a lot more conscientious of how much paint you use, you know? And so anyway, that was an interesting awakening for me. So I was like, man, like I used to think when I started doing the bloom recipe, I was like, man, these supplies are going to be so expensive. And initially, probably so. But then like kind of once you get your stash and you find out what works for you, and you know, you find out what works in your state and in your country and all that jazz. And then you kind of figure out your style and like, are you a better swiper than bloomer? Like what's kind of your preference? There's some really pretty cells down here in this right here. It makes me so sad. And I can't leave all this here to dry. So anyway, I just started thinking about it and I was like, you know, now that I'm a little further along in my journey, I realized that I used to buy paint like crazy, and I mean I buy pigments like crazy now, thanks to Leslie and her beautiful stuff. But they still last me a long time. Like I haven't had to replace any of them yet, and I use them in everything. So I personally think I save materials by using this technique. What do you guys think? It's better than the last one, right? I kind of want to get her feedback, but either way, I'm going to finish this set of coasters. I may not finish them all right now, but I wanted to get y'all's feedback about that, see what you think. How do you think it turned out? I'm going to pause you. I may do one more with you. And I gotta wash my hands, look at that. Okay, let's try round two. Maybe I'll do it a little bit better at the swipey. I probably haven't mentioned this yet, but all the ingredients are in the description box below. If you haven't taken Shelly's class and you would like to, there's a 15% off promo code below. As you all who follow our channel know, I'm a giant Colourarte fan. So if you would like to try some Primary Elements pigments, or the Prism Pour, which is amazing, by the way. I want to do another piece with it. Or even the resin pigments. There is a 20% off everything on the Colourarte website below. And I recently released a video where I used resin art to hydro dip, and maybe not everybody does resin stuff, but pretty much anybody can hydro dip. And that was a lot of fun. I'm going to close up my white cell activator. And I'm going to do some more. And if you haven't tried the Prism Pour, you need it in your life. And they're going to release even more of those. I have to make more cell activator, you guys. Look how sad. And so right now there's only 4 colors out. I have 3 of the 4, and I've only used 2, so I can't wait to use more. Let's see, if I go this way and up, and then that way and down, that could be cool, huh? Like that. It's my dog, if you hear her walking. Anyway, they're amazing. And Tammy did a video the other day where she showed 2 of them that will be released, and they are so pretty. So if you don't subscribe to Tammy's channel, you should. Look at that. I don't know if you can see that. Look how pretty. It's like the cells came off on the card. That's sad. Don't come off on the card. I'm so tempted to reuse that Not a good idea. Okay, let me not. Anyway, beautiful stuff and super excited about it. When I saw those, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have them. All of the sparkly things. Okay, so now we're gonna go this way with these. Oh, my hand is not very steady today. It's like this big giant. It's like I'm so tempted to re-swipe it, but then I'm like, nah. Okay, I don't know, you guys. Let's see. This is also kind of a fun experiment because I like to swipe in different directions. But, you know, usually when you do it on a canvas, you obviously have a lot more control over it. You can tell my paints are a little bit thick, and I'll show you where. So with the bloom recipe, you want the pillow to be the thickest, your paints to be a little bit thinner, and then your cell activator to be a little bit thinner than that. Well, you saw my paints were thick. You see this right here? I don't know if you can see that, but it's trying to cause my paint to fragment because it's thicker than what's underneath it. Also could be overstretching, but since it happened when we barely stretched it all, that's what I propose is the problem. But look at how those cells are opening up and how beautiful and round they are. So hopefully it won't be too big of a deal, and hopefully there will be no cracking, any of that stuff. So, okay. Now I kind of want to go this way. You can't entirely avoid every possible paint fail, but you can kind of go, okay, why did that happen? And learn from them. So one of the things that used to drive me crazy when I first started doing the blooms is I would get these like canyons where, of course, I was still using American Floetrol and I hadn't switched to Australian Floetrol yet. Look how pretty this is. Whatever we did differently on this one is working out. I don't even know if I like the first one anymore. Anyway, and so my cell activator would kind of cause like these like dips or whatever, like into the paint, and I was like, that is so gross looking. And of course you could fill them in, and it, once you resin it, it wouldn't be too bad, but I was just like, why is that happening to me? And we have too much paint left on here, so this is a little tricky. We want to get the corner, but we don't want to lose all that. So anyway, I can look back and remember thinking, why is this happening? I have to find out why this is happening. And then like once you start to get a little understanding about why it's happening, then you're like, okay, now I think I can avoid it better. But that's one of the things I think is great about the course is other students share things with each other. And if you post your panicking pictures for the other students, they'll say, oh, it's probably this or it's probably that. And then instead of you feeling like you're out there alone giving it a shot, you feel like you can figure it out and maybe learn from it. And so now, like, some of that stuff has happened to me so many times when somebody panics. I remember being there and just reassure them, oh, it's just this or just that. And just make a few minor tweaks and you'll be good. So I really like the way this one turned out. I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but I like how there's kind of like some negative space, but it's not really stark. And you have cells kind of in strategic places. That's kind of cool looking. And I think it's, you know, manly enough for somebody to give their son. So I'm going to try a couple more with this color palette. And one of the reasons I really always try to record is because it also helps me to remember what I did. So if I go back and somebody says, I really like this one versus this one that you did, you know, like sometimes the smallest thing can make a difference. How you blow out your cell activator, if you're using a blower, if you're blowing it yourself, if you are spinning, not spinning, all those things make a difference. And so if you're trying to recreate something, sometimes going back and even watching your own video is helpful. Feels kind of strange, but it's helpful. But I like that. I really like that. Okay, I'm going to pause you again. Okay, this is a long video. I'm sorry. We may only just do this one more, but now I kind of want to do all of them that way. So that first one I may keep as one for paint skins, or I just may do another set with those colors, more of a straight swipe across. But let me know in the comments which one you like better. I'd love to hear y'all's feedback since I can't hear you. But I really liked that one. It was sort of like a swirly cell delight. And I love to spin and I love to do blooms that way, but I also really like swipes, and I don't think I've ever done coasters as a swipe. In all of my paint pouring, maybe in my regular acrylic pouring days I did. Sorry, my dog again. I might have done it before I really maybe got a handle on some swipes, and I might have done it and hated it. So I know I did try to do one swipe once when I was practicing the bloom recipe, and it was a disaster. It really was. It was a disaster. I better not have just seen a fly in here. I was on the warpath to find a fly earlier, and I thought I got it. And they love paint, and so I'm gonna be really mad if he's still alive and I'm over here thinking he's dead. I'm just reusing paint. Don't worry about my mess. It won't stay there. Just why waste it, right? Because then you lose composition, and you don't want to lose composition. A little interference action. Oh, a lot of interference action. Okay. Need to mix up more of this too, so I'm kind of excited. So we did this, and we did this, like that, last time. And then I remember being really worried it wasn't going to pan out, and it did, so it's really hard to do it from here. Look at that. Now, I kind of want to go like this. Just a little, you know. And sorry about my head. Just open up those cells a wee bit. All right, let's stretchy, stretchy, stretchy. Go this way just a little. When you tilt, you don't want to just go real fast, because stretching your cells too much or too quickly is what makes them wonky. And I honestly probably should have let it sit for a little bit, because they will develop after you blow them out or swipe them if you leave them alone a little bit. So you don't want to just be like, dunzo, you know, you don't want to do that. You want to gently tilt, but by the same token, you also don't want to leave too much on too much paint, because too much paint will crack. So But you want to do it kind of delicately, because then you get those cells that you have some control over their composition, and that's kind of nice. This one side over here didn't quite react as much cell-wise as the first one, but I mean, that's kind of what you can expect in the acrylic pouring world. You can't really recreate something perfectly. At least I've never been able to. People sometimes ask for something exactly like something I've done before, and I'm like, I just don't want to disappoint you. There's no way I can do that exactly like that. I can get the same colors. I can do something similar style, but acrylic pouring is one of the fastest ways to deal with your control issues if you have them, because you cannot control it. Y'all, these cells right here. I'm trying to tilt off this one corner that I don't like, and everything I do is failing, but let me show you these cells right here. You see those right there? They're so pretty. That corner may just have a little purple in it, because I don't want to lose those cells for a silly corner. That's the other thing, is sometimes we obsess over things in our pouring that nobody else would ever obsess over, and you might mess up the whole composition of a piece for a stupid corner. And the corners are important. I'm not denying that they're important, but sometimes it's not worth wrecking a whole piece over, and I've done it more times than I can count. So, like, I would really like this dark purple piece of the corner to come down to the very edge, but I don't want to compromise those cells either, so that's probably close enough. Well, maybe not. Notice I tell y'all things and then I don't do them, because there's like some white junk on the corner that's driving me a little crazy. But I really like the composition of these. I just made it worse. Okay. Okay, that's enough. I'm not gonna do that. I was about to lose these over the edge, so let's see if I can't get them back on here. The weight of the paint is now up in that corner too, so I need to level it out a little bit. Maybe get some of it down here. There is something gross in there. Oh crap. No. I have so much paint on my fingers that I'm about to lose stuff trying to hold on to this tile. This is so pretty. And I think there's just enough shimmer in here where it still creates a little interference look, but it's not like super girly. So, oh my gosh, what is with me in this corner? Okay. I'm sorry, you guys probably can't even see what I'm doing. I'm trying to get this corner under control. But I think I had better stop trying to do that. So now all I would really do at this point is get my edges. Part of my problem is everything I'm trying to do to correct edges is failing because I have so much paint on my fingers. But look how pretty. Anyway, I appreciate you guys checking this out and watching with me. I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm not going to do the last one or two with you. I will post them on our social media after they're resined and all that jazz. And they'll be available for purchase. It takes me forever to get things on Etsy. So if you're interested in them, just message me. Our email is in the description box. But I hope you guys enjoyed my experiment. Please subscribe to our channel. We're so close to 1,000, so I would love your support. And thanks again for watching. Have a great day. Bye.